Well, hello everybody. This is kind of a two-part piece. In my other video, I created these little school of fish, so I need to create a little environment for them. So I am thinking a island scene up above with blue sky and maybe some clouds, and then down below an aquatic scene, just so these little guys can swim in. So if you haven't already, or I think I'm going to upload it first and then I'm going to upload this one second. I have not decided yet, but we have this project as well. So go check that one out. That one's kind of fun. You also don't have to glue the stems on them. You can actually glue the fish to the painting. So that is another possibility. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. So, you can watch the fish video and just make the fish, or you can also watch this video and make the habitat, or do both, which is what I did. So I want to start off with a large brush, and I have some colors over here, and I want to start off with a blue sky. So I'm going to get my brush a little bit wet. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of soften this up. Sometimes it's a little easier to work with. But if you use too much agitation, it could actually peel the paint. So you got to be a little mindful when you apply water to your canvas. So I'm going to start off with just a little tiny bit of white and a little bit more water. And then I'm going to go ahead and touch into the smallest little bit of blue. And a little bit more white. To get a very light blue sky. I'm going back and forth to force these colors together. And I'm going to start touching into a little bit more blue. Now I want to kind of work the water a little bit. I'm going to touch into a little bit more blue. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And then I'm going to pull this down, add a little bit more blue. Bump it back up even higher. Drop it down. And now I'm going to add a touch of white and a touch of teal. Now you can mix a dark blue and a green, or blue and green to get a teal with a little bit of white, but I happen to have teal already mixed. So really this color is these three put together. All right, a little bit more of each. Really want it to kind of be a tropical island color. Nice and aqua blue. Maybe a touch more blue, just to kind of denote the horizon. All right, now I want to take a little of this color, this green, and create kind of a wave. And take my dark blue and also create a little bit of a wave. This is going to kind of be the decipher between the water above and the water that's going to go below. So a little bit more of that blue. I'm going to touch into a tiny little bit of black just to give it a little bit of a darker feel. All right. I now want to clean my brush a little bit. And touch into a little bit of white and a little bit of that aqua color. And try to give this a little more surface. I'm going to add a little bit of water, help this glide on a little. All right, I want to make it just a little bit bigger or a little bit wider so I have more space underneath the water. I'm going to kind of almost erase that line, but it's also going to give me kind of a shadowy, murky underwater feel. And I touched in a little bit of white with a little bit of this raw sienna or like a yellow ochre. And I'm just creating kind of the sand that would be under the water and the color that that would have. And I'm going to add a little bit more to open up the bottom of this sea. And I would extend back a little bit farther. So I want to start building up a little bit of a darker kind of teal, but a little bit gray. And probably even more gray. Yeah, maybe a little bit more touch of green. And I just want to kind of add a little bit of texture that would be at the bottom of the ocean. Just to denote depth and layer. And I'm just barely touching on random little spaces because, you know, little different landscapes under the ocean. Different sets of like coral reefs. And so we're just trying to kind of create some murky under the water feel. You could pick up a little bit more of that yellow, just kind of feed it into other spots. So now I want to create some clouds, and I'm going to use the hands-on approach and use a little touch of water and my finger and just touch in to where you would want a cloud. And I'm just kind of dabbing my finger and maybe even doing little swirls here and there. In a very irregular shape, maybe pointy. It can be big, it can be small, but you definitely want to keep it on the horizon or above the horizon. All right, that's a nice little cloud. Let's maybe add one or two on the other side. All right, so like I said, you can make more clouds, you can make less clouds. It's really up to you. All All right, so basically we have our clouds, and now we can go ahead and start the island. So let's go ahead and, I'm going to use a smaller brush. I want to build up where the island sand would be, so I'm going to just use a little bit of white and a little bit of that kind of raw sienna or yellow raw sienna. It kind of has like a yellowy, it just looks like the closest to sand, basically. So I want to find my horizon line, and I want to create my little island. And I'm going to have a fairly wide island. Just try to get that sand color in there. All right, and we'll just kind of leave base for now. And just added a little bit of white to kind of give some waves and off into the side. All right. Now we want to give it a little bit of, well, I think it might need more definition. I think we'll use this line to be kind of the cutoff and let that all be the underwater. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the dark blue and maybe a little touch of the green. And we'll just make that the deciphering line between above and below water. I'm just going to make this a little thicker. And maybe even carry this color up and over with a little bit of water. All right, so now we have a little bit more defined what's above and below water. I'm going to go ahead and add a little line that also deciphers it. Okay, so I'm going to start building up some foliage. I think I'll start off with some tree trunks. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of yellow and a little bit of this brown, or I'm sorry, a little bit of this raw sienna, this yellow. Maybe warm it up with a little bit more yellow. Anyway, kind of get this brown color. And these are going to be the palm trees. And we're just going to create significant amount of little palm trees, because why not? All right, so we want to just make sure these are a little more rooted to the ground and a little whiter at the base. All right, so we kind of have a base where all of our little palm trees are going to go. And now we want to build up some foliage for the island itself. So I'm just going to kind of tap a little bit of this mixed lighter green. So basically I used a little bit of yellow and a little bit of this darker green just to warm it up. The yellow just makes it look more like a Kelly green and just like a really bright, pretty green. All right, and then we'll go ahead and just build up some of our palm fronds. So I might even want a smaller brush for this, actually. I'm even thinking this brush might be good. This is a little bit of a longer one. Gonna make a little bit more of this color first. I'm going to touch into a little bit of black and that brown, just to give a little bit of shadow to some of that green. Just so it feels a little bit more grounded in some areas. Then we can add a little bit of that in some of the trees. Give it a bit of a shadow. Might be a little bit better to do this when it's a little drier, but sometimes the paint sticks a little bit better. Ooh, that's too much. All right, I'm just going to build up a little tiny bit of kind of highlight on the trunk. That went into the blue, did not want that. And we can add maybe a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, a little touch of green, and give some highlights to the trees. I don't know, they're a little obnoxious, but that's okay, it's painting. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this dry for a little bit. I don't know how wet the bottom is, maybe a little dry, but we're just going to take a little break. And then I'm going to build up some maybe coral and some rocks and some under the sea things. Not sure yet. All right, you guys, so we'll let it dry. Okay, so I've let it dry. I'm going to go ahead and start building up some sea life down below. And then I think we're pretty much done with this project. So I'm going to add a little black, a little green, a little bit of blue, and a little dab of white. And more black. More, it's a little too bright. I wanted it to be more shadowy. All right, that's about good. I just want to start to fill in some little areas where maybe some seaweed would go. Add a little water to this so it glides on a little easier. And I don't think I'm going to do that to the other side. I think I'm just going to kind of create this little coral reef thing. Well, it kind of just looks like, it looks like another sea plant, but whatever. All right, let's add some little rocks in here. I'm just gonna add a little bit of black, a little bit of that yellow. I'm okay if some of that green gets in there. And we'll just create some little sea rocks. And I'm gonna just water that down even more. Too much. I'll just give some more far away feel of seaweed. Alright, we'll just add little fish that are swimming kind of far away. A tiny school of fish. Alright, you guys. And here is your habitat for your undersea fish. And they can just keep swimming. So I don't know, you guys. Kind of a fun project. You can kind of tie the two together. You can actually even glue these on here if you wanted. You can make a different underwater scene. I may do another video with some more coral and underneath. So we'll stay tuned for that. It is summer, so, you know, we're just gonna try to do the summer, do the seasons, do the holidays. So anyway, you guys, this is a fast fish. All right, you guys, so I have let it dry, and now I'm ready to go ahead and ensemble some shells to glue along the bottom shore. So got a couple little starfish as well, and a couple of these little round horn-like shells. And these snail shells can kind of be sort of, I don't know, maybe off to the side slightly. But anyway, my hot glue gun is indeed charging up. It looks like it is now ready. I'm going to start off with the with the starfish. I think that would be a good one. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue that in, push and hold. Right after I get this stringy glue. And we'll go ahead and do that for the next one. Oh, goodness. And we'll glue that one down. We'll go ahead and glue this one down. I'm going to hold off on those. All right, so we'll go ahead and glue this one down. And go around the perimeter. Oh, goodness. All right, that's where it's going to glue. All right, I'll just let it kind of cure first before I start messing with it. And then we got one more over here. Go around the perimeter so that when you glue it, no bugs end up in there. You don't want a little hiding space for a really creepy bug. And we'll go ahead and just, that could be a hiding space for a creepy bug. So maybe we'll just hold off on those because they're going to lay sideways and that's a hole for a critter to live in. So we'll just leave it. I don't know, this is kind of a fun shell. Sort of looks like a clam. That could be kind of fun. I've got another one too. This could be a fun one to add. Little clams. All right, so they're all pretty much stuck on there, which is great. So if you want, you could take some Mod Podge and give it a shiny feel. That could be kind of fun. All right, you guys, so now you have a place for your tropical fish to swim. Right in between. They're quite huge. But anyway, you can glue these on there. You can make them smaller. You can make them bigger. The canvas can also be bigger or smaller. But basically, we have just a nice fun art project for summer under the sea, you know, something to do. And you can also make these as party favors. You can give it ambiance. There's so many things you could do. You don't have to glue them on the sticks. You could just put them right on the canvas, glue it when you glue the shells. If you paint this a portrait and make this a little longer, you'll have more room under the sea. There's so many possibilities, but this is how I created my wave underneath the water. There's only one other thing that I could add to this that would be kind of fun, and that would just be to give it a little bit of a light kind of feel. Like the light is just coming down. We could just add a little bit more, just some little faded white lines. I just watered down a little bit of white to give me this illusion. And now that we have the elements glued on there, we can kind of see it a little bit easier. Boy, this watered down translucent just kind of dries a little bit faded, so I'm just going to make it a little thicker. All right, you guys, there you have it. Tropical fish habitat. Anyway, guys, fun tropical summer art. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you like these, keep on liking, keep subscribing, and I will keep making them. I'll see you in the next one, you guys. Happy summer.